Greg and Bart will start soon. Here they come. They're gonna start. Greg and Bart will start soon. Stay tuned. Greg and Bart will start soon. Here they come. They're gonna start. Greg and Bart will start soon.
Thank you, Mike. CB's Gaming Headquarters.
That's funny stuff. That is funny stuff.
When I joined, that was playing. I was like, "What the heck? What is
Right.
that?"
That's funny stuff.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to G.Parkers Arcade Room with my co-host, partner in arms, and otherwise known as a better guy of the two of us, Offgrid Arcade, who I mentioned in my video this morning, has put a lot of work into this tournament. So he deserves a big round of applause from everybody because he's done a great job. Oh, I forgot to bring the comments up so I can see if anybody's there. Oh, there's 200 people waiting to see all of us.
Yeah. Another great day. Another end of another week of pinball, and the start of another week. Yeah. So,
well, real quick before I introduce our guest, too, I want to say that today is Bart's happy birthday. So I want to say happy birthday to Bart. We'd sing to him, but I don't want him to get nauseous this early in the day. So we'll just.
No, it's all good. Thank you.
I think the big thing, though, here is we know him as Rick. I think everybody knows that G.Parker's Greg, Bart is Offgrid, and Champaign Room, Rick, who you all have seen if you've been playing on the tournament. You've seen him up there on the leaderboards, although I did point out just before we went live, he took a little slump here. He says, I don't know if I'm worthy of being on, but of course he is. We're glad to have him on. And so I want to welcome the Champaign Room to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And this tournament's been really fun. You know, it's been great so far. I've never done a tournament before. I've only had this machine here for a couple of years and just got it set up for the internet. So it's been a lot of fun.
Can you tell us a little bit about, since we're kind of at a low right here, we don't have many people in the chat. We did go live, right? Did anybody check?
I didn't check.
It says live on the top left on my screen.
Well, it's showing that we got 3 viewers, so there must be something.
Oh, yeah. We are live.
Okay, well, that is a good thing. And yes, I'm seeing it on mine. Okay, well, yep, we're live. Matter of fact, I better mute that or we'll be talking round robin. So anyway, while we're waiting here, and of course, you know, we never worry too much about how many viewers we got, Rick, because this stays up for a playback. So anybody that you know, we get probably a lot more views after the show's over than we do when it's going live sometimes. So tell us, you've got it right there in front of us. We're talking pinball. You mentioned it briefly. I'll be still and tell us a little bit about your pinball machine.
Yeah, it's I modded it. It's an arcade 1-up pinball machine. I had it. I've almost had it for 2 years now. And what happened was, it actually, I think the motherboard fried on the stock board. So I got another one, and that one ended up breaking. So I ended up just putting a new screen in, a bigger screen, and I actually added the backglass screen and a PC basically, and that's what I've been playing on probably about a year now. I've had the PC in there, but I really got Pinball FX3 and VPX working pretty good now.
That's awesome.
And what else is I going to say about that? I mean, it's like, it took me a while though. I started just with the screen, and then like each month I'd add something new, and I got like the light up launch button and start button, and I've got like leaf switches in here for the buttons, for the flipper buttons. Trying to think what else I've done to this. And then I have solenoids in here with an accelerometer, so I can actually nudge it. I haven't gotten that working on the FX3 yet. That's only on the BPX. But
Right.
yeah, so the nudge that should be coming, next. But other than that, that's about it for this machine. I'd say it's a 32-inch screen as well. So
Excellent. That was my question. What size screen it was? Yeah.
and the other thing too, it's actually 120 hertz I have running. So I don't know if like before the screen before is 60 hertz, and that for virtual pinball makes a big difference. I feel like the ball moves more smooth. I feel like a little bit. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, it's nice.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So basically, what he's done, Bart, is he had a existing cabinet. We built cabinets and put PCs in them. He saved himself the labor and the material, which was a lot of the work was putting together a cabinet. He just basically took their cabinet and built a new one like we got, a homemade pinball machine out of it. That's perfect.
And there's a couple guys on YouTube who have done this before. So I'm not the first guy. So there's a lot of pretty good tutorials how to do it. And it's pretty easy. The hardest part, well, not the hardest part, but maybe the scariest part was, I had to decase the monitor to fit it in there. So it's basically just the panel in there, I guess you'd say. Other than that, it was pretty easy to do.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. See, I haven't figured out a way, and I don't know, Greg, if you did, because my cabinet's the same as what you got going on there, Rick, with the nudge. I can physically nudge for VPX, but I haven't figured out how to make that work in FX3 or the new FX with just nudging the table. So I have to push the nudge buttons, which isn't quite the same. Oh my gosh. Look at Poe is still awake. What are you doing, Poe? Look at Poe. Poe can flick my balls. I got my shirt on for Mr. Poe Style. Or I should say from Mr. Poe Style. It is a pinball shirt. Get your minds out of the gutter for those of you that are watching. But thanks, Mr. Poe Style sent me this for my birthday, and that was nice of him. So yeah, so he basically just popped in to say, "I'm here and now I'm leaving."
Hey, Mr. Poe Style.
Yeah,
I've watched some of his videos. I've seen his channel.
Yeah, he streamed some pinball today, didn't he?
He actually, for the first time in the last, maybe in the last day or two, but I actually came on and saw him streaming live, and I said, "It's alive! The Poe is alive!" But it actually, you know what? He's using that PlayStation 5, and I guess it's set up to stream. And man, his audio and video is pristine.
Yeah,
wow,
it looked really good. I didn't get to catch the ones he did today, but I watched the one he did the other day. Now he got one of those PS5 cameras, so you can see his face, but I watch his videos anyway. I just put some duct tape on the TV.
He's got a face for radio. You know, he'd be a great radio guy, but TV is just not.
I'm telling you. Now you see why he just comes and leaves right away.
Snoochie Boochies to the across the pond. Rick, just to let you know, that man that just jumped in there is up. It's got to be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock.
Oh wow!
Guy.
Hey, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, he's over there in the UK. Retro Man Randy Savage, awesome guy.
I love the profile pic on that. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. Good to see you, Brother Savage. Chaos is in the house. Kelly's here. She's packing, so she's probably just listening more than watching, which is usually the best thing to do when it's me and Greg's faces are on the screen.
That's right.
Chaos says, "What's up, Rick?
Oh,
cool name." For those of you that don't know, Arcade Chaos, he's kind of outing himself. His name is Rick also.
I thought he was talking about the Champaign Room. Okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
maybe.
I want to say something. I want to get back to real quick though about Champaign Room's pinball machine. You know, to me, that's at first I thought, of course, I'm looking at it from a distance, that it might have been a At Games pinball, which is what Digital Victory uses. And you know, I've seen a lot of guys use the At Games, but I just think it's kind of cool because I did get my chance to put my hands on an arcade 1-up pinball machine one time. It was at a store, a furniture store. They actually had some, and I liked it and I didn't like it. I didn't like it because it didn't have the capability of doing a lot of games like the At Games did, but I really liked the look of it. And to think that you could, you know, if I could find a arcade 1-up that had gone bad or something, I think that would be a cool way, because you can see it. I mean, it's not up close, but he's got Attack from Mars. I can make that out from here.
Yeah,
Attack from Mars. That is an awesome deal, because my cabinet that I built, it doesn't have any fancy artwork on it. And like you said, the At Games Legend, they have their own artwork, right? It's not but the arcade 1-ups, you can get those ones that are done and they look nice. They're really nice looking.
Because I've looked into it. There was what's the company called that they basically, you can buy a pre-made pinball machine, but you got to put it together yourself. I think it was I can't think of it right now. But when you get it, but it doesn't come with pinball legs. And I was looking into that, and that's kind of expensive too, to get that as well. I don't know that's one thing. It kind of gives you the full package with the legs and everything. But I will say this: when I bought this, I was one of the first people to pre-order this, and that was right when the At Games pinball machine was kind of coming out. They both kind of came out around the same time, right. And I didn't know that you could. I just heard, you can kind of just hook up the PC, and I thought you would lose like a lot of the plunger and the accelerometer, the nudge, but you get to keep all that stuff with the At Games. So they did a really good job with that. You know, I would say that's probably the better pinball machine out of the At Games is out of the box. But if you wanted to find like you said, a broken one, or even, I feel like you're probably going to see more of these on like Craigslist and OfferUp. If you find something like that to mod, it's not that hard. It's pretty good. It's pretty easy.
Can you actually use the plunger on yours?
No. So that's the kind of the last thing I'm working on. I have to get a board for that to work. So it's because it's an analog, so it doesn't work with like an encoder board, just, you know, your regular cheap encoder board for the buttons. Yeah. So I have to get the, it's like $50 or $60, I think. But yeah, that's the last thing to do.
Now, you know, some of them, even the real pinball machines now have, they don't have a plunger, believe it or not. I forget which ones, but they got a button, and it's an extra button over there. And that's what I put on my second one I built. I actually went to that pinball place that we got in town, and I said, I found the machine that doesn't have a plunger. And I said, that button that launches it, you got any extra of those? He said, yeah. I said, how much? He said, like $15. I said, give it here. And I came home and put it on there. So I just wanted to kind of halfway look authentic, you know.
That's funny. I basically did the same thing, because the Attack from Mars is actually one of them that doesn't have the plunger. So this launch button is what you'd actually find on an actual Attack from Mars, because I did the same thing. I was looking up, I was looking at that launch button online, and I found a place that sells them. An online retailer, and I realized they're like 20 minutes away from me. So I found out you can just place an order and go there and pick it up. So yeah, it's literally a real pinball part, and it's just a big button that fits in the same size hole that the old one did. So yeah, I did the exact same thing you did, basically.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I got really lucky. You talked about legs, pinball legs. When I built mine, I didn't I didn't take the monitors apart either. I built these. I kind of scabbed them together as I was going. I mean, Bart's seen them. He's been here. I basically built boxes, flipped them upside down, put framework in there to hold the TV, and then just frameworked it underneath to support the TV. I'm not describing it very well, but that's probably the coolest thing I was able to do. I had a buddy, a guy. It's one of those, a guy that knows a guy that works on pinball machines, and normally those legs, they're actually Williams pinball machine legs. I think they were Williams. It came off of Williams machines, and normally if you look online, you're going to pay about $150 for a set of them, and he got me 2 sets for both machines, $50 a set, so $100 for 2 sets, and they're real pinball machine legs.
That's a great deal. Yeah. So I looked that up. They're not cheap for, you think they're just metal legs, but yeah, they're not cheap. Yeah, that's a great deal.
Yeah. See, Mr. Livewire popped in.
Oh, Mr. Livewire, good evening, sir. Glad to have you here with us tonight. So, Bart, how are we looking on the tournament this week? You want to talk a little bit about how last week ended up?
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about that. I was going to laugh.
Why don't you give everybody your personal opinion of Tesla?
Me?
Yeah, Bart, you.
Yeah, well, if you don't have anything nice to say, you're not supposed to say anything at all. So I'm done about Tesla. No, what I can say, and I don't know if I'm having internet issues tonight.
A little bit,
but Tesla looks beautiful. Tesla looks gorgeous. It's an awesome looking table. And let's go to the scores. I can't play that tape for nothing. I played horribly, and then I even tried cheating and jumping on the Switch and playing two different accounts, and my Switch scores were lower than my cabinet scores, so I quit. I had a bad day with that, but I did have Brad, Greg, because you're kind of giving Rick, Champaign Room Rick, a little hard time that he didn't do so good on the tournament this week because he came in second.
I hate Tesla. Screw that game.
It's a tough game though, but yeah, so what was it? Classic Rock King, he won this week.
Yeah.
He came in first, and it was close.
He's a good player, man.
That must have killed you, Rick. I had to, on our spreadsheet, normally I just round the scores to like 12.1 million, or you had 12.10, he had 12.13. You almost got him. It was so close.
I looked up. I'm like, I'm at 12 mil. I'm probably gonna beat him here. And like I looked down, and the ball hit a slingshot and drained. That was
the drain. And then Mr. Livewire, he came in third with 11.2. So good scores up there. I'm not going to get down as far as my score because that's way at the bottom, and we don't have to get that low. But top three, you guys are all pretty much doing good for the whole tournament too. Yourself, Livewire, Classic Rock King, he's got 13 points overall. So, yeah, and I'm hanging out with the all of us that get 1 point per week for just showing up. That's the group I'm hanging out in.
But let's see, Derek. Derek's in the house. I think we may. Tesla's not one of my faves. I'll say that. And but anyway, well, what I was going to say about it is when Bart mentioned playing on the Switch, I kind of mentioned that to him because I had a little bit of a theory. Mrs. G.Parker got on the Switch and just blew my scores away. I have to set them up on the cabinet, so I just play them all on the cabinet, and don't get a chance to play on the Switch. Well, I decided I'd go ahead and play on the Switch too, because Mrs. G.Parker got on there and just turned out another phenomenal score like she did. I can't remember if I can find her real quick on here without making y'all wait. Mrs. Parker, yeah, she had over 3 million.
She got 3, just over 3. Yeah.
Right. And
does she have more points than you in the tournament?
Oh yeah, she's got more points.
Yeah,
she actually placed. She actually placed one week. She placed second. I forget. Let me look across the street.
I remember that. Because that was about 4 weeks ago, I think, something like that.
Yeah,
she is currently tied for 5th overall in the tournament.
Right.
Because she had that second place.
Yeah,
but
that kind of goes full. Let's see. That kind of goes full circle though with what I was going to say about how. I'm finding her. Okay, here it is. It was on week 5, and then I look at my sheet to see what we played week 5. But I was just curious whether the Switch. I hadn't played any on the Switch. I thought maybe the Switch was easier than the cabinet. I thought there's got to be some explanation for my wife consistently kicking my ass each week on this tournament.
I think I remember it. It was at Adventureland. I think she came in second. I think that was it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it was Adventureland. He's right. But anyway, long story short, I tried it on the Switch just like Bart. I couldn't beat the score I had on the cabinet.
I was going to ask you that. Is it easier on the cabinet, do you find, than the Switch?
No.
No. It's hit and miss. For me, it's very, very hit and miss with sometimes. Man, I'm trying to get this thing. You might have to take over the chats, Greg, because I'm clicking on stuff and it's not going. It might not be my internet. It might be my computer needs rebooting. But no, some of the tables all have really good. If I look at my Switch scores on FX3 compared to my cabinet, it's almost like it's 50-50. Some tables I got really good scores on the Switch that I can't touch on my cabinet, and then some are the opposite. It's a weird thing.
See, for me, I feel like the Switch would be harder. I've never played on the Switch, but I just feel like it'd be harder because of the like the point of view, I guess. I don't know if you play. I mean, are you playing on the actual Switch itself, or you move it vertical, or are you playing on like your TV?
Bart, how are you doing?
90% of the time, I'm playing with the Switch rotated vertical, and then just using the touch screen for the flippers. And then, but sometimes I will throw it up to the TV for the bigger screen. But
I think on the TV that would be hard for me, just the point of view. Because I mean, you can change to a top down, right? But I don't know. I feel like most people play, like Greg. Don't you usually play like on the like it's like view 3? I want to say on Pinball.
Usually I play first in the office here. If I want to play in here, I got a TV on the wall that can rotate. So I have played in portrait mode because your Switch you can rotate it. But primarily I play in 1W, and the disadvantage is you cannot see the back of the table as much. So let's say there's a skill shot with something you got to hit in the back, your table's kind of wide and flat. But the advantage is when that ball comes down toward those flippers, it's kind of like that joke I made. That baseball kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it finally hit me. Because if it gets closer to you, that's kind of the image that I get on my screen when it's rotated in horizontal mode, is because it's so wide at the bottom that ball seems bigger and the gap seems smaller. So I don't know. It seems like but my scores tell a different story. I can score a better score consistently on the cabinet.
Hey, I'm seeing something here, Greg.
Have the same modded one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say,
Cool.
Mr. Livewire has the same modded Attack from Mars as Champaign Room, and they're sitting 1 and 2 in this tournament. There must be something to this Attack from Mars being modded that it boosts your score. There's some hidden score boost that comes. That's what it is.
I think that's more the Coors Light on my end.
Sometimes I don't disagree with that.
Score booster.
Yeah. You knock a couple back and suddenly you're getting an extra couple million points. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Iwar says I've been playing on my cab and the Steam Deck. Okay, now see, that's something I've never messed with, is a Steam Deck. I assume that's similar to a Switch. Am I right, Bart?
Yeah. A little bigger though. My boy Jason, he has one of them, and I played on his a little bit. Didn't play any pinball, but I messed with it with a couple of games he had installed. It's like a bigger Switch, but it's Steam, so you can play all those types of games. So that's pretty cool. I got a Retro Man Randy. Let me see if I can change this. Retro Man Randy Savage put this.
I got it.
I can't get it up. Can you get that?
I got it.
The soccer pinball one.
The
I don't know. It hasn't updated.
World Cup soccer on the new FX.
The World Cup soccer. I was watching. Now it was the Women's World Championship or something up in Wisconsin. They're playing a tournament up there, and I watched the girls were playing. They were playing that World Cup soccer, and the girl that won it got 1.0 billion. And my personal high score is 1.3 billion. So I'm thinking I could have taken them chicks if I'd have been up there.
Let's get them on the show.
But that is a cool game. I don't know if you've played it at all, but that's one of my favorite tables on FX right now. That World Cup soccer.
I've played it. There's a message from your wife.
I haven't
played the FX version. I've played the VPX version of that before, and that one I don't know if you know. That's got you use the MagnaSave, and it's got like a save. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that for the longest time, and once I put the MagnaSave buttons on there, I realized there's a feature on there that it's like saving a goal. Basically, it's pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So. I've noticed there's a lot of this MagnaSave. There's a lot of tables that use those buttons. I've realized.
I've seen that on VPX tables. What it does, I've seen it, and I always wondered, was going to ask somebody, and never got around to it, because I noticed, you look in the settings, and it says like, right shift is right flipper, left shift is left flipper, left control is nudge, right control, and then I saw one that says. That little squiggly key over here is a MagnaSave, and I thought, I'm not setting up MagnaSave. I don't know what the hell it is. So, I guess there's certain games that it does a feature for you.
Yeah, I don't know what the first pinball game was to use that, but I think it was called MagnaSave, and that's kind of like the universal term they use for those buttons. I'm trying to think of another. Well, that Tesla game actually had a MagnaSave, but you use the launch button. I don't know if you guys ever use that, but there's sometimes where you actually drain the ball and you hold the launch button and it would suck it up. I've never seen that before. That was kind of it actually but I don't think it worked on multi-ball. I learned that the hard way. I don't know.
I just brought this one up for you, Bart. Retro Man Randy Savage says he's going off topic, but Offgrid, have you heard of the new song from Extreme called Rise? Nuno's guitar solo outrageously good. I know you guys are both big into your music. Is that something you heard of? Or?
Yeah. No, I haven't heard. I actually was. That's why I was typing on my thing to respond to him. I have not heard the new song. I haven't.
Okay, well, I just thought I'd throw that in there. I know Retro Man Randy Savage came in, and I don't care if it's off topic. It's one of my comes in from across the pond. He gets get a question if he wants.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Okay, here's what I wanted to ask Champaign Room while we got him here. How to get those scores you're getting? Are you describe a little bit of time you're putting into it? Are you consistently getting the high scores and just getting higher, or do you have crappy games like all of us do? Or I mean, I don't know. I don't know you personally. I mean, maybe some people speculated before we had you on the show. We talked to you, knew you, said well, this guy's probably sitting at home 24 hours a day playing pinball.
Oh. Well, I do. I usually play on Sundays and then like a little bit on Wednesday, Thursday at night. But if you just asking, like, usually, yeah, I do usually have a bad game. And one of the things especially if it's like the unlimited tries, I don't know if you guys do this, but if my first ball is bad, I just hit start and I'll restart it. I don't go for the next 2 or 3. So I was going to say that's probably a pretty good tip because I don't know. Usually, if it's you're just kind of wasting time. I don't know. In my opinion, if you just keep going for 2 or 3 more balls. But the other thing I was going to say is what I've noticed for these tables is the Williams tables seem to be more high score oriented on getting multi balls and jackpots, whereas the Zen tables are more like trying to find the toy, I guess you could say. Like, for example, the Tesla in the top right of the table, there is that weird like magnetic toy you go into, and then you'd start an experiment, and then that's usually what's going to score the most. So it seems like the Zen Studio tables are more of, I guess you would say, like involved with that, versus the Williams where you just want to get that multi-ball and start hitting jackpots. That's usually my goal. We lost Bart a little bit there.
Yeah, he'll be back. He's definitely experiencing some internet problems. See, he's just to give you a little background on Offgrid. Oh, Hollywood Polo's in here.
Oh, I know Hollywood Polo. I've seen him in other arcade one-up chats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen Hollywood Polo around for a long time. I've been kind of following other channels before I got mine going, so I've seen his name pop up quite a few times. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. And Bart says he'll be right back. Just to let you know about Bart, for those of you watching that don't know, he doesn't mind me telling because it reflects his, he's rebooting his laptop. Bart is off-grid. That's why he calls it off-grid arcade. I mean, if you see where he's broadcasting from his trailer that has his arcade games in it, and solar panels up and batteries, but then that's just right outside his house, which is basically a small home that he built that is all solar powered. I mean, everything's solar powered, and he's running satellite. There's no wires running to his house.
That's impressive. I've seen some of his videos, and I remember he was hooking up, like, what is that called? The Starlink, I want to say. Is that the internet? And he was on his roof, and you could just see there's nothing around him. There's, I'm like, this guy's an arcade there. That's impressive. I've seen some of his videos.
Hollywood Polo says Bart's living the dream. Yeah, he is, and I'll tell you, you're right. About the trailer running all those arcades, and I'll tell you that's one thing that's cool about him is he can tell you. He's got meters and equipment. He can tell you how much power he's got left. Matter of fact, there's days I've been talking to him. He says, we can't talk much longer or chat on the line here because he says it's been cloudy all day.
Oh, yeah.
He gets 2 or 3 days of cloudy. He's got to watch himself. But he's not living bad, though. I mean, he's got AC. Yeah, there's Kelly.
I feel like people would, I feel like people would be okay with that, like, having a.
He's not bad, though.
There he is.
He's got AC.
There, I'm back.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah.
We're just talking about
I did
the arcade there.
Yeah, I did have it playing while I was gone just to make sure. Greg likes to take those opportunities, but he messed up and he was saying nice things about me. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I should have told you the truth about him.
Yeah.
Hollywood Polo joined us, Bart. He says welcome, and he says you're living the dream. So
yeah, thanks. Yeah, unfortunately, I was so late getting here because of the golf game with my boys. I didn't have time to move my cameras and turn on all my games. But yeah, there are times when we're out here and like Greg was saying, I do got to be careful. If we have a couple cloudy days in a row, I can't be out here for long with all these machines going because it is all battery powered at the end of the day. So, and
can I ask you about that?
Especially the pinball machine.
Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, I was going to say, how long does that usually go for like a round? It sounds really cool. I was when you were telling me about that, it sounds interesting. How, like you said, you're playing with your boys from like across the country.
My oldest boy is in Arizona, and my younger boy, he's in Florida, and I'm here in Texas. And it probably takes about 2/3, I'd say, as long as playing a real golf game, because you don't have to drive your car to the golf ball, but you are playing. And we started with foursome. My buddy Rob was with us too, but he had to leave around hole 14. He wasn't feeling well. So if all four of us are playing, it's tough for me to get here at 10 o'clock. Well, I can't make it. I would have had to quit it because we play at 8 and we go live here at 10. And I can't play a foursome with golf. We can't play it in 2 hours because it's a full 18 holes. We played Pebble Beach tonight is where we were playing. So, yeah, it takes a while. If there's only 3 of us, we can sometimes pump out a game in an hour and a half. But
that's that's really cool. It's like you're playing golf. Yeah, then. It's cool.
Yeah, and
when you're telling me about that, I kept thinking about it.
Yeah, watching each other and turning around, able to talk and all that stuff. But yeah, it's pretty fun.
I'm gonna have to get a VR, the Oculus, like you guys were saying. I'm gonna have to get that.
And I was telling him before we went live that Rick, we do there's a bunch of us that get together. Myself, Bart, Mr. Postown, Mike Seavey's gaming headquarters, the Gaming Road Warrior. We all got together and played. Matter of fact, who else was it that joined us? Wasn't it? Guy back east. I'm trying to think who the other one that joined us one time. But we played mini golf.
Yeah. I can't think of that guy's name. But yeah, we played the walkabout mini golf. That's a blast too, because same deal. You're playing, and when Greg's hitting, I'm standing there, I'm looking over at him, watching, making fun of him, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like golf would work really well with that.
Yeah, it's fun. I like, those are the types of games I like on there. The golf games, whether it's mini golf or full size golf, the bowling's fun. And then we were having a blast with the cornhole. You can get on there and play 4-player multiplayer cornhole game, and that was a blast. Fun. It was Brooklyn Menace. You're right, Chaos. It was Brooklyn Menace we played with. But
Derek says he's got a question.
The only problem with the playing the cornhole was Mr. Postile was the first one to get it, so we kind of felt obligated to invite him when we played. So we had to let him play with us, but it was still fun. No, it's a blast. But
I had no idea they even had those games.
Derek has a question. It's still in the box. Oh my goodness! Once you get it out, you'll have a blast. Pinball's fun on there too. It's kind of an amazing thing to play pinball, and you can stick your face right down inside the glass. It's kind of cool.
If you get that Walkabout Mini Golf too, and look us up because I think I'm in. I'll have to look. I haven't been on the Oculus in so long. I can't remember I think I'm G.Parker on there too. So, but
I think
let's
so.
see, let's see. The mail find a lot of people have. Let's see, Mr. Livewire's got a Quest 2 and has the mini golf and driving range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they have a driving range game. That's cool.
Well, the driving range is in the walkabout, but that's what he's talking
about. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chaos says Poe is an OG cornholer. Well,
I was going to say that joke was just left on the table there. Someone had to take that.
Yeah, it's just sitting there waiting for someone to take it. But yeah, Mr. Livewire, look for us on there. We can play some mini golf sometime. I'm just off-grid. Am I just off-grid, or is it off-grid arcade? One of the two.
Man, you're asking me. You're asking the wrong guy because I can't remember my own. I'll have to look it up. But
yeah, it's either off-grid or off-grid arcade. You can find me on there. And anyone that has a Quest and wants to play some games, just hook me up, and we'll play.
on Steam,
what's this golfing with friends on Steam?
No, I haven't played there. Now, I'll tell you something else. Chaos and I have played, and I think Bart and I have done it as well. We played on the Nintendo Switch. We have played Nintendo Sports, and, they recently added golf. It was just bowling, badminton, volleyball, but they added golf, and Chaos has got a Switch with that, and let's see, you never... I know we got to get together and do it, Chaos. We'll get together. We'll get here. I'll put his. I mean, he did give me the sports, and we never want any more golf smoke. I'm just saying, I know we need to get together and do that. It's just been busy around here, Chaos, but we'll get together. We got to do that. Well, hey, if nobody minds, I got to bring up a couple more things about the tournament before it gets too late and we get into our checkout time here, but. Wild West Rampage is on going right now. Matter of fact, Mr. Postal held second place for quite a while today until some other people finally joined in. So, and I had first for like 2 minutes when I started the tournament. And that was something funny. If you watch my video about me starting the tournament, I got home today and could not get FX3 to connect with their server. I had internet, but it wouldn't connect to their server. So if I'm ever late, that's the only reason why. The last time, other time I was late though, and it was my fault. And it may have been my fault this time. I don't know what caused that. Let me remove the old off-grid.
Yeah, sometimes when I try to enter a tournament or I have internet too, and it won't let me. It takes a couple tries. So it's something with their server.
But anyway, Wild West Rampage is going on right now, and then next week. Final week, Creature of the Black Lagoon, 1 ball, 1 attempt.
Ooh,
that's brutal.
Now here's some of mine, and I hope it's okay if I speak for you too, Bart, because I think we kind of had discussed this already. This is one of the reasons we set this up this way, with a certain amount of these tables being set up with 1 ball, 1 attempt, 1 ball, 5 attempts. And that's kind of the way we're going to do the playoff, because we do realize there are people here that are better than others. I mean, my hat's off to you. We can all make jokes about Champaign Room, and we can all say good things, but, it's still for fun. I mean, it's still for fun. The only thing up for grabs is a $25 gift card, which, I ain't going to buy a cup of coffee nowadays, hardly. So anyway, and then, a trophy. So it's more bragging rights and fun. So when we get to the playoff, it's going to be tough, because we want everybody who's in the playoff, just like we made everybody that played got 1 point for showing up. Basically, if you showed up every week, I can pretty much assure you're going to be in the playoffs. And I think you're going to find that you're going to have a pretty good chance, because we're going to make this tough so that a guy like Champaign Room, and I don't mean to just pick on him, or Livewire 713 or Classic Crossing or Wavy Creature, if they have a bad game, they're done, because we're going to do a thing where and the other thing you need to get the word out and pay attention to is we're going to have to run 2 tournaments at the same time. So once we decide who's playing off, we're going to decide who's going to match up. And Offgrid's going to run 1 tournament because I can't run 2 tournaments at the same time. So Offgrid's going to set one up, and I'm going to set one up. And we will have to let you know which one you're assigned to and what your password is for that game. So you know you're going to have to look for Offgrid's tournament or the G.Parker tournament. So we're going to work on getting that information out to everybody, and hopefully if you by next week we'll announce some way that, like right now, we pretty much know just about everybody. I'm not sure who Livewire 713 or Classic Rocking is right now, or Wavy Creature. I really don't know their true identities. Pretty much everybody else down the list. Apple Blossom, I'm not sure of, and Tony's Jorgen, Jogren. So yeah, so we still got some stuff to work out, but we are going to start that after next week's play. So we basically got about 2 weeks before we start that.
I like you guys for the playoffs, like the you said, like 1 ball, 1 try or whatever. That's a good play because anyone could win that. I feel like that's good.
Yeah, mix it up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we may not do that. We're going to have to. But we're trying to put a lot of thought into it. The fact is that, you can have that thing that just happens. It's like I don't know. I don't follow basketball much, but I heard that KU got stomped the other day by a team that shouldn't have stomped them and threw them out of the big tournament. And I thought, hey, even though my son went to KU and I usually pull for KU, but hey, the little guy won.
Right? It happened. Yeah, but we haven't actually come up with the tables or what's going to be 1 ball, 1 try, or we haven't figured out exactly how we're running that quite yet. So you have to stay tuned, but we'll have to talk about it next week because that we'll be rolling into it after that.
Yeah. And again, we got to get that information out for you. And I don't know if I could, it's too early to let the cat out of the bag, but I believe, and I don't know if he's still here in the audience with us or not, but I believe we're coming down to possibly having a Discord server being set up. And if that's the case, that might be a good way for us to get information out to people too. So, of course, some of you may not have. We want to try to be fair for everybody and make sure everybody gets the information. So I'd say the best way is check Offgrid Arcade, check G.Parkers Arcade Room. Again, we didn't make people subscribe to us to be part of this, but you are going to have to check our channels. We got to communicate somehow and get that information out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Discord will be nice if get that going. Then you could play some, or we could set up the Zachariah pinball and play that some night.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That'd be
want to
fun.
try that.
Yeah, that's a blast. We got to try to. Greg and I have done it 2-player, and we've been wanting to try 3-player with someone, and it's always tough to try to get 3 people's schedules aligned up, but we definitely want to do that because that is a blast playing that. Chaos is going to play some Zachariah tonight. Zachariah, is it Zachariah? I think it's Zachariah, right?
Is it Zachariah? I probably say it wrong. Yeah,
I think so. Oh, look, Derek says we're getting closer.
Oh yeah, you should get an invite tonight. I answered in our chat for you today. He asked the question. I didn't see it. That's one thing I have to know, Derek, is between my Facebook, the YouTube, and the chat I've got with the other YouTubers here. I apologize if I don't get back with you right away, but I saw that you sent something in the chat directed to Bart. I knew Bart was busy with his birthday, so I tried to answer you like 15 minutes before we went mine.
No, I didn't even see it. Sorry. Yeah, I had to work today, so it was a great birthday. So I spent all day at work. We get up at 4:00 in the morning on work days, and yeah, so it's been a long day. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Discord has some really neat stuff because you do have the ability to send direct messages to people too. So that'll be a good way to, if people get on the Discord, we can get them the passwords for the tournament games without having to just blast it out. And then, but we will tell you, Greg and I have talked about it. If need be, if we have to just broadcast on our channels, hey, here's the playoff tournament. These are the bracketing, who's playing. And if we have to give the password and everything, people may jump in there. We're not going to count your score if you're not in the tournament. If we're down to the final four and it's 2 people and 2 people and 10 people play, whatever, we're only going to look at those other 2 people. So hopefully we don't get people saying, hey, what the heck, I beat them on this one. It's like, you're not even in it. It's these 2 teams, so, or these 2 players. So
and that brings me to another important subject, is depending on if Offgrid's running that tournament that you're in or I am. Because if we didn't do it that way, this thing would take, to bracket it down, it'd take 12 weeks to do the finale for a 10-week tournament. So we have to run 2 at the same time. But you do have to know that Bart and I Bart, myself, Kelly, Mrs. G.Parker, have all excluded themselves from the tournament. We played, but we're not going to throw ourselves into the mix as far as the final. We want to make this for the people, for the viewers out there. But we do have to be in the tournament. We have to be in it to set it up. We have to play one round. So we'll just play one shot. You'll see our name on the board, Offgrid Arcade, G.Parkers Arcade Room. Those scores won't count. And I'll probably just play it, and I don't know, I might still try to get a good score, but I'm not going to, just one shot just to get it going.
Right. Yeah. We didn't want to even risk the chance that at the end, boy, that wouldn't look good if somehow the final round was me and Greg playing against each other in our tournament. Greg wins his own $25 gift card. The Steam sale. If you guys, anyone has FX3 on Steam, all the tables are like 60 or 66% off, except for Indiana Jones is 30% off. Now's the time. If you're missing any tables for Steam, I did check the Switch and they were not on sale in the Nintendo store. But
I'm glad you told me that. I'm going to check that out. I'm missing some tables.
If you're missing any tables for FX3 and you play on Steam, now's the time. So thanks for that tip, Mr. Livewire. I was going to mention that, but I forgot. But
I just want to let Hollywood Polo know real quick. Chaos, I don't think Chaos can play.
Yeah, he doesn't have Steam. He doesn't have Steam.
Yeah, he's playing. If you watch his stream tonight, I think he's going to play it on his stream by himself, because we wish you could do this, because I have it on the Steam and on the Switch, but the Switch won't allow you to play multiplayer. Only Steam will.
Yeah. Greg and I tried. We wanted to see if we could do it, and Steam's the only way to do that. And one thing, if speaking of Steam, and although it has nothing to do with Steam, the new FX we have to play on Epic, of course, instead of Steam, because it's not out on Steam. One thing I saw that was really cool, Epic puts a lot of games on sale that I can't play them because my laptop's the only other thing I have besides my pinball table, and I'm not going to be playing, regular PC games on my table. It wouldn't work so well. But man, they had some games the other day that were 95% off. Epic Game Store has every month, I think, they have another free game that you can just download. They have a whole section of free games, and they're not just cheesy little games. Some of them are pretty good games. But and one of them was one of the Star Wars games, and it retails for like $35 or $40, and it was for $3. It's like, Wow, and it's a pretty big thing. So for people that haven't pulled the trigger on Epic and getting FX on Epic because they're like, no, I'll play it on my PlayStation or whatever. Epic Games does have some good deals for other type of gaming if you like playing other types. But
I'll answer Polo's question for me. I didn't buy anything on Steam. I didn't buy anything off Steam right now because I spent so much buying FX tables, and then I did buy some more Switch stuff. If you watch my channel, I kind of went a little nutty this month. I'll tell you what, those games run $50 a piece for these. I always like the. So to answer your question, I did not. I haven't bought anything. I don't know. Bart, have you bought anything, or Rick, anything off of Steam lately?
the Steam sale, as far as the FX3 stuff, on my cabinet I have every table they have, so I couldn't really partake. And like I said, I don't play any other Steam games on my cabinet. I suppose I could look at the Steam VR stuff and stream through AirPlay to my headset, but yeah, I don't mess with Steam other than FX3.
I play a couple of games off Steam. There's a game called Demon's Tilt. It's a pinball game from Steam, but it's a little different. It's kind of like a pinball game meets like a shoot 'em up. And you can actually change the orientation and play it on your cabinet. And they're actually coming out with a sequel pretty soon. It's pretty fun. I play a little bit of that, but other than that, I usually just use Steam for pinball effects as well. That's it.
I was going to say, you were talking about the comparison. You were talking about Epic, and again, none of us are, being paid to be promoted. We're not compensated or given anything by these places. Everybody's griping at first about FX going and Zen Studios going to Steam, leaving Steam and going to Epic, and I can see a lot of the complaints either way. But I'll tell you one thing I found for me, and I've heard that I might be able to transfer my tables over to Steam. But here's the problem I found with Steam, and I got to disclaim this too. They're not done with cabinet mode on FX, so maybe this will change. But here's my story. On FX3 on Steam, if I set my cabinet up in cabinet mode, you got to put that code in, and then I got to set up all that screen configuration that comes in that, right? You've had to do that, Rick, on yours, right? And Bart?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, but then if I decide to sit down in my office and play on my PC in here in landscape mode, I can come in and do that. But when I go back to my back to my cabinet, it's all screwed up.
It changed it. Yep. I've had the same. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Re-enter your cabinet mode. Now, by comparison, when I go to FX on Epic, I'm putting that on another machine because I can't seem to get them to. I get worried when I try to put too many different things on one machine. Sometimes they clash. It's like Pinup Popper and Pinball Emporium don't play well together. So I got the other machine now. That other machine, I can set up. I think the settings are held locally in the computer instead of on Steam servers. It's the only explanation I've got for it. So I can go in and set up and play on that cabinet in there, and the back glass and everything works, and I can come in here. I do have to turn that off at Epic. It won't let me play on both at the same time. But I can fire it up in here, and I can play it on the wall and just don't turn cabinet mode on it. And then I can go right back over there and turn it back on and turn it in cabinet mode, and it works fine. So there, to me, is one big plus of Epic right now, and the way it's set up is I could go to your house, Bart, and just use my username and password and play at your house. And don't have to worry about screwing my cabinet.
Yeah. My only problem with, and it's the same thing with Epic as it is with Steam, is I wish you could do like you do on the Switch, where we do the same thing you do, Greg, and I can log on Kelly's Switch onto my account and play, and my scores will show up in the tournaments, and she can play, and hers, where you can't do that on Steam. You can't. Kelly can't come onto my cabinet and play on Steam and put her name on it. It'll look like I played. And I wish they would do that in Steam, and Epic doesn't do it either. And and we're still crossing our fingers that eventually on Epic with FX3, well, with all of them, but at the Epic version and the PlayStation and Xbox, is they'll let us start having friends that are cross. Because you can see in the leaderboards, you can see people that play on consoles and you can see people that play on their computers. They show up on the leaderboard, so we're hoping they will allow to add friends so you can see friends' scores. Because right now, Greg and I play, and Mr. Postile and Mike Seeby play, but they're on PlayStation, so we can't see their scores in our friends list. So we're hopeful with that, with FX.
See, and that's what's cool about I have that family account with Nintendo. And I think that's what you guys have got down there, right, Bart, is the family account? So you're right. I can set up Cheryl's on Miss G.Parker, Cheryl, is got her user account. I got my user account. My grandson's got his user account. My son's got his user account. My other son's got his user account. All on mine. I can share up to, I think, 8. But now, as long as I own that game and they're playing it on my unit, on my you're right. They can log in and say, I'm Greg, I'm Cheryl, I'm Jeff, I'm Brad, I'm whatever, and I can just play that game and just scores. I'm trying to illustrate just how many people you can have. You only have to have one copy, and each person can log their own scores, enter the tournament, do whatever they want. So Switch has got that going for them on that.
Yeah, and it'd be nice if Steam would do that, and then or Epic. Because Kelly doesn't even have the option of playing any of these tournaments on the cabinet.
I have a dumb question here. Is the FX ever going to come to Steam, you think? Or is that just going to be on the Epic Store?
They say it's going to. Yeah.
I heard it was 1 year that when they came out with it, they gave Epic a 1 year exclusive, and that when that 1 year up, that they will. Yeah. And I've been told, now they've said, I don't mean to pick on them, but they've said a lot of crap that didn't come true. Now they said, well, first they told us that we could just, once we bought them, we could play them wherever we wanted. That went away. Now they said that you can transfer these where you want. So now I have heard some people did buy them on the PC on Epic, and they were able to transfer them to their PlayStations and Xboxes. They did show up on them.
Yeah. Okay. If I remember correctly, I think it's April is when the 1 year is up. So that'll be the soonest we would get it on Steam. And that's when they were saying for the Switch also. They were hopeful for April, but we'll see. We'll see.
Because I know you were talking about this. Like, aren't people having trouble with just like the FX running on their PC? It's just kind of like power hungry a little bit. I wonder if like the Steam version will be the same. It's probably a dumb question too, or if that's gonna be, I don't know. Because it seems like the Pinball FX3 doesn't really on my computer. It runs like perfectly well, but the Pinball FX, it doesn't really run that well.
Yeah. I ran one of those, I don't even know what you call it because my brain isn't working. I'm getting tired. One of those benchmark type of things where it would tell me my CPU usage and my graphics card usage. I played FX3 game table, loaded up the same table in FX, and my FX, I have almost everything turned to low on my cabinet, where FX3, I have pretty much everything on. And it seemed like both my CPU and my GPU were running FX3 and then they were only running at about 25%. Now FX, with everything on low, my CPU was running at about 40%, and my graphics card was running at 55%. And that's with everything. That was everything at low, and I have the frame rate locked at 60 frames per second, which is what they say they designed the physics for. So they said even if you crank up your frame rate to faster than 60 frames a second, it can throw the physics off. But I've seen people on Reddit say they're running 120 and it works fine. They don't notice anything. I lock it at 60 and I turned off the VSync, and it made it look better and play better on my system. But it is drawing nearly double the graphics card is working twice as hard with the settings all on low, and I'm running them both on 1080p. So I don't have a 4K monitor, so I don't even try. Running. It's a 1080p is the maximum I can do anyway. But I would not be able to run FX in 4K on my cabinet. I can tell you that right now. And I don't even try.
It seems like such a jump in usage for like people. I haven't played a lot of the tables, but people have been saying like the graphics aren't that much improved. You've played. I don't know if you could comment on that, but it seems like it was just like a big jump in usage, basically, in your hardware usage for this. But
yeah, I certainly don't see enough, at least on my system. I don't see enough of an improvement. I still have not double dipped on any games. The tables I have on FX3, I have not bought on FX, but I just now, the other day, happy birthday to me, I bought the last 3 tables that are not available on FX3. I bought them. So now I own all of the ones that are not on FX3. So it plays well. I like it, but they don't look good enough that I'm going to go double dip and buy all the Williams tables again and buy all of the, because I already know when it comes out on the Switch, I'm going to be buying them on the Switch too. So I've already bought all the FX3 tables on both, and I'll be buying all the new ones on the other one too. That is until Greg does a stinking Monster Bash tournament on FX or something, then I have to buy it because I won't be able to play in the tournament.
Well, but I think I'm going to be in line with you. I think I'm not going to be playing any tournaments that are on FX that are the tables on it. I accidentally bought one that I realized when they were in early mode that I realized was on FX3, and I don't know why I did it. But long story short, you're right about the Switch, though. That brings us full circle in this conversation. I'm thinking I'm going to buy them again for the Switch, but only for the fact that your wife I know Kelly uses the Switch. And see, if I buy it on the Switch, then Cheryl can at least play FX and have her own name and scores, because I'm hoping that Pinball FX will play through the same way as Pinball FX3 does on the Switch with having multiple accounts. Do you think that'll happen?
I would think so. I would think so, because I think that's a Nintendo thing that allows you to log into all the games as if it's a totally separate account. But yeah, so I may end up buying more on the Switch than I buy on the cabinet. The only table that I bought, I got to correct myself. The only table I bought for FX that is available on FX3 is Indiana Jones, because I never bought it on FX3 for the Switch because I got it on, or for the Steam because I have it on the Switch, and I didn't want to buy it both ways. I figured I could play VPX if I wanted to play Indy on my cabinet, but then I did break down and bought it on the new FX again because Greg bought it and he was like, "Yeah, see you on the leaderboard." So now I had no choice but to buy it. And then I saw his score and I can't even get close to it, so now I wasted $15. After I told Greg about the sale, they had it on sale in the Epic Store, and I didn't buy it myself. And then I went to buy it the next day, and the sale had ended.
Now, see, it would make sense to me that if somebody tells somebody it's on sale and sounds excited about it, I assume, which you know what assuming does, it makes an ass out of you and me. But I said, oh, shit, Bart said Indiana Jones on sale. He's going to be buying it. I better buy it. Then I buy it and said, I didn't buy it. I thought, well, what the?
I was just being a nice guy and letting you know. I did buy it the next day for $5 more than you paid.
Here's a final thought. Not saying a final thought, but here's a thought from Chaos. Rick, I'm assuming he's meaning Champaign Room needs to give everybody a handicap.
So
how would that work? I wonder. How would it like? I get 2 balls and everyone else gets 3.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
You have to just let ball 1 drain.
Yeah.
Just play from there. So you haven't played the new FX, or you have? Rick?
No, I want to say I tried loading it up, and I tried loading it up in this cabinet, and I gave it a whirl. It wasn't really running too well. So to be honest, I really haven't given it more than like 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Mine wouldn't run it hardly at all. And then I had upgraded my video card. I got a GTX 2060, I think, or RTX 2060. And then I was still having trouble. And then I had a oops moment where I realized my motherboard's kind of old. I pieced this together with spare parts kind of. And my motherboard's kind of old. It is running a 3.4 gigahertz quad-core processor chip, which I've overclocked to 3.6 gigahertz, but it'll only hold up to 8 gig of RAM. And I had two 4 gig chips in there, but when I installed my video card, I caught that clip and popped one of the 2. So I was only running on 4 gig of RAM. And I'm like, man, this thing's running like crap. And I was looking I was going to buy more RAM. I'm like, it's saying I only have 4 gig. And I pulled out the 1 chip and I'm like, these are 4 gig chips. And I'm like, oh crap, the other one isn't even plugged in. So I pushed it in and it made a huge difference. But the biggest difference, well, besides making sure I had the 8 gig of RAM, the big difference for me was doing that locking the frame rate at 60 frames a second and turning off VSync. Because they default to on and it defaults to unlimited, it might be worth it if you still have it installed. Check those settings. And I turned everything down to low, turn off the ball trails and stuff like that. And I think I had the anti-aliasing set to low. And boy, when I turned off that VSync and locked it to 60 frames a second, I was able to turn the anti-aliasing up to medium. And one other setting I can't remember offhand, I was able to set up to medium. So it might be worth looking at that VSync setting. It made a huge difference in playability.
Yeah, I'll definitely play around with the settings. I know I have to do that even with VPX on this a lot because I have a small form factor Dell under here, not inside but under here. So it's the graphic cards are kind of limited with the small form factor. So I only have I think it's the GTX 1650. They have a better graphic card that fits this now. So I'll probably go with that eventually. But I'm kind of limited to that too. So that's my problem. But I think also I forget what processor I have in here too. It's that could be improved as well.
Yeah.
I might just have to get a new computer eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
The Chaos wants a little steeper handicap for you there, Rick.
You get 1 ball.
You get 1 ball, we get 5.
Or I'll play like this. I know sometimes people do that. The crisscross.
You guys see that orb in front of Champaign Room's camera? It was a ghost. Rewind it. It just happened.
There's, I've got my webcam has LED lights to kind of give you more, and I think there's a piece of dust flying around. I keep seeing it too.
Yeah.
I swear it's not haunted.
You talk about that playing crisscrossed hands. Greg and we did a little tournament. We couldn't play at the same time, which we could if we played it in Zachariah. But we did it with the wives where you do one flipper button and she does the other. And we did a little tournament, and if I remember correctly, this Offgridders, not to brag, but we took second place in that tournament. I don't know what the Parkers did, but the Huffs took second. So I think the Parkers came in second to last. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was in second. He came in second to last. Is that how it was, Greg?
But we did have a fun
tournament scores. I think we know who to blame on that one. That's not Greg. That's Mrs. Parker. She's got you on the tournament scores.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I've told people too on the Stranger Things pinball machine, Kelly has got her name on the leaderboard. That's the real pinball machine there, the Stranger Things, and her name's on there. And I've had people over and they go, "Who's that Kelly that's on your machine?" I said, "Oh, this friends of ours that came up from down south, came up to visit one weekend. And his wife got her name on the board, and they said, well, we don't want to take her name off there." I said, "Knock her off. Nobody can touch it. Nobody's touched that score."
Yeah.
Nice.
She can beat their score, and she doesn't even have electricity run to her house. That's how bad they are.
Let's see, that second place trophies for first loser. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I can tell Bart is getting, first of all, I want to thank Champaign Room for being here tonight with us. And Rick, if you care to come back, we'll see if we can work in the schedule. I'm sure it sounds like we got some good participation. So we'll stay in contact with each other. We want to thank you for showing up. This is the time I usually give for final thoughts. So I'm going to start with you, Rick. I'm going to give you, a couple minutes to clear your head on anything, then I'll pass it to Bart, and then I'll give the final thoughts, and we're going to shut it down for the night because I know Bart got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He's leaving town in the morning. And so go ahead, Rick. Give us any final thoughts you got for tonight.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a lot of fun and just showing off the cabinet. It's kind of cool. Someone else has Livewire. Oh, there's the orb. Livewire has, he's got the same modded cabinet. And I guess the other thing, just keep trying to get high scores up there. I think this Wild West Rampage is a fun table. I've played about half an hour, maybe an hour worth of it, and it's going to be good. I like this one a lot. And yeah, have me on, anytime. I appreciate it.
And see there, Post-Style, I just want to say something real quick before I give it over to Offgrid. See there, Post-Style, this guy's a nice guy. This great guy's a nice guy.
Yeah.
It's been a joke, Rick, but, he just puts one word down and we'll go, well, Champaign Room just passed you. He writes, cheater.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do a live stream one time or something. I'll show you. I'll do something.
He was crying today because normally you don't play early on in the tournament, and Poe tries to jump on right when Greg launches it. So Greg has his first game that he plays, and then Poe jumps right on there, and he says, I got all excited. My second game I beat, and then I went to play another one, and Champaign Room had beat me in between my two games. He's like, I didn't even have the first hour.
I played a game. I played a game, and then Poe beat me, and I said, well, he didn't beat me by much. And that little thing up there said, you just beat Poe-Style. So my game was over, and I shut it down. Well, I turned it back on, and 5 minutes later, he beat me again. He was sitting there waiting to get that score. Go ahead, Bart. Final thoughts. I'm sorry, Bart. Go ahead with final thoughts.
No, that's all right. Yeah. Final thoughts. Everyone, if you haven't got in the tournament, it's kind of late, but you can still play. If you have never played before, get on in. Rick, Champaign Room, thanks for coming out here. This was awesome. You're a cool guy. It was nice to meet you. And like Greg said, anytime you want to be on the show, that's cool with me. Oh, technically this is Greg's show anyway. But it's been fun. We're having a great time. The playoffs are coming. It's just going to get more exciting. That's about all I got. And I'm tired. I'm sleepy. That's what I got to say. That's my final thought.
And I'll give my final thoughts. It's not my show. I mean, Barton, I'll tell you what, Bart's put as much, if not a lot more work into this than I have. We love simulcasting it. he's done a great job, been a great partner in this. And I think if once we take a little break from this, it seemed like we had good participation. Bart will get together. Maybe we'll think of something fun to do again, because it did seem to bring the community together a little bit, and got some new people that we hadn't met. We met Rick through this, and what a nice surprise we had there. So I want to thank all our people for watching, your cooperation, your good time and good nature on all this, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday night, 10 p.m. Central, and we'll let you know what's going to happen with the finals.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, and one other last thing. If you play on Steam or FX on Epic, send us friend request. Mine are Offgrid on both places, Offgrid Arcade and Greg's G.Parker. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. But yeah, if you see us on Steam, if you're playing in our tournaments, send me a friend request so we can be friends on Steam and all that stuff. It's cool stuff. So that's all I got.
And maybe you'll get a channel going here, Rick. You talked about it sometime. We'll be happy to help you get on here and promote it and get some pinball stuff going for you. It sounds like what you're into. So,
yeah, I appreciate that. I think I'm going to do that.
Okay. Well, you guys want to hang around for the green room afterwards? I'm going to end the broadcast. Thanks, everybody. Let's give everybody a wave. We'll see you next week, folks. We've been on for an hour and 21 minutes. We hit a record. We'll see you later.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye.